following preview has been rated good by the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast. Please check out the full episode when it releases on Sunday. The Big Apple is a hard place, and it's even harder for the woman from the Princess Diaries playing pretty much the same role makeover and everything, but didn't know that her life was going to get a lot hotter when entering the proverbial hell of the fashion industry, overseen by the witch from Into the Woods. Can she survive this dog-eat-dog world, even if people actually would eat in this movie? This summer, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird reviews The Devil Wears Prada.
A classic.
A better written intro than the actual intro for this episode.
Yeah, but you know what? You are correct in every aspect.
Yes, I'm not wrong.
You are not wrong. That is, in fact, the movie summed up.
Yeah, I did forget to bring it up in our conclusion, but yes, this movie is very much the more mature Princess Bride.
It is.
Or, sorry, Princess Diaries.
Everyone knew what you meant. Yeah, but this movie is one of those ones that, like, sticks out in your head, is like, even if you only watched it once, you're like, oh, I remember that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
like, this movie had a foundation.
Well, even me, who, as we talk about in the episode, this movie had a big marketing for it.
It did. You managed to dodge that sucker.
Yeah, but I still knew the poster at least.
Oh, the poster, like, at this point, I think that's what people who haven't seen it still, after all these years, still know what the poster looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it was around that same time because, shockingly, same director and writers for Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And costume designer. But it was that era where when it came out, the women around me were into fashion. They were into Sex and the City. Not my mom, but
specifically fashionless, like Sex and the City fashion.
Yeah, but the high school girls that I knew were into that kind of stuff. They were starting to get into fashion and actually understanding it. So these movies and shows were kind of at the forefront of a lot of people's memories and
definitely
ideas of what fashion and
which is hilarious because this movie really isn't about fashion at all.
No,
like it's barely in there.
Yeah, no, it's more of a backdrop for the events to happen.
Exactly.
And as we do mention, this movie is very applicable to a lot of industries and a lot of...
And, like, you don't have to be, like, a young, up-and-coming woman in a fast industry. Like, honestly, everybody who works in any sort of field probably has something similar happening.
Yep, or any industry that's got a hustle, so, like, the entertainment industry, anything like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you work for someone who thinks themselves big shit, you will have something to compare yourself with the main character with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, I mean, I think part of that just is brought up by just the absolute believability and how well this entire movie was done in general. Oh,
yeah, this movie's fantastic. The only real complaint I have is, like, the handful of, like, cheesiness that is sprinkled here and there, which isn't the worst. It's overlookable. It's just a little odd compared to the rest of the film.
Yeah, I mean, they don't... They're at a part where, like, they don't really, like, detract from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they're there, and unless you're specifically looking for them like we did...
Yeah, you're gonna miss it.
Exactly. Or not really looking for them, but just us hating those types of moments in movies.
They stand out for us.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And then you can't get over how good Anne Hathaway's and Meryl Streep's acting is in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic, especially... I mean, it's Meryl Streep, born to be the goddess that she is. Mm-hmm. But this was... for a lot of people, Anne Hathaway's, like, introduction to, like, her adult roles. Where she's not, like, aimed... Like, the movie's not aimed at kids. It's not aimed at teenagers. This is aimed at arguably young women, but everyone should watch it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, like, it was real... Like, yes, she hasn't, like, fully reached what we know today as Anne Hathaway, but, like, she's still really good for like, her quote-unquote, like, adult breakout role. Fantastic. And then, of course, Meryl Streep is... always a delight to watch.
Yeah, no,
it's hard not to like her in whatever she does.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole casting of this movie I thought was well done.
Oh yeah, there's very few spots where you're like, oh, awkward. And I think the only spot for me that felt like, oh, awkward, and we talk about this in the episode, you know him in a variety of other movies. Well, I know him as the main lead of the TV show Castle, and unfortunately that has ruined him as just playing the guy from Castle for me.
And
it's a bit like watching Frodo Baggins be in literally anything else.
I mean, that's not uncommon for me. Like, I mean, with what was his name? The guy from Fast and Furious who died.
That doesn't narrow it down.
The big one.
Oh, God, what was his name?
Well, either way, I can't remember his name. But, like, when everyone died, I looked him up on IMDb, not knowing he was from Fast and the Furious, because I hadn't seen it at that point. I'm like, oh, yeah, he was from the Lazarus Project.
And everyone was like, no, he's from Fast and Furious.
Yeah, everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know. It's kind of...
It's also the argument of, like, do you know him as Samwise, or do you know him as the brother from 50 First Dates?
Yeah, kind of along those lines. But it's also kind of a running joke with Sugi and Krim's group now that unless you explain it to me in giant robots or Japanese schoolgirls, I don't know the reference.
Yeah, what's the degrees of Miyazaki in this film?
Takashi Miike, thank you very much.
A pardon.
Big difference.
You could argue that the degrees are the same. Probably 3.
Our episode of The Cat Returns proved that.
That's, 3 degrees.
Yeah, or in some cases, just 1 degree.
That's true. Boy, it's a small acting world.
Yes, but that aside, I mean, The Devil Wears Prada is definitely one of those ones where I feel a lot of people who skipped it should go back and watch it.
Definitely.
Because
and it's held up. It surprisingly still feels very modern.
Exactly. I mean, it's what, 15, 16 years old now?
It's reaching it, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely one of those ones where it should definitely go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, especially if you passed it up because you were like, I don't care about fashion, which is how I felt when this came out. Like, I was definitely the tomboy, didn't care anything about fashion, was not about it, wore the same sweatshirt for like 10 years, and like that was the whole outfit, was like the one sweatshirt that said Pepsi across the front. It was like 5 sizes too big.
Pepsi Man?
No, just Pepsi.
Yeah, I know.
If it had been Pepsi Man, that would have been cool at least.
I don't think that ever got released in the US until...
Not by that point,
no.
But like, this movie isn't a fashion-based movie. This is so much more than that, and like, the writing is clever, the dialogue is really like very natural and fluid, like the story arc and like the character progression doesn't feel dry or lacking at any point. There's also like a lot of different like aspects that you can pull out of this. There's a lot of arguments that you can make for even some side characters, which honestly helps bring this around to like, oh, I've seen it, I haven't seen it in a while. Watch it again. Yeah, you'll find something else to talk about.
No, it's a really fleshed out movie, and just from a technical aspect, I think it's overall well done. I mean, there's
little to complain about.
Yeah, besides like the really cheesy moments. Now, it's not a perfect movie. I wouldn't give it like a 10 out of 10 on my personal rating, but it's not like the art movie of the century who's going to change all of American cinema. No. But it is a cornerstone of like everyone has seen it. Everyone has talked about it. Like, it's made its way into multiple different like aspects of our culture. Like, everyone has seen the poster. I think Family Guy has made a couple jerps about it. Probably.
At this point, what have they not? But like, it's one of those things where if you only know it from the poster, give it a go. Give it a little taste.
Yes.
Like 5 almonds worth.
Devour it whole.
Like an onion bagel.
Yes. But anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird previews.
Check out the full episode.
Peace.